Catherine McLean, founder and CEO of Dylan Green, and today I have Lydia Li joining me. Lydia is based in New York City, and she's with Arevon as the Director of Investments. Welcome, Lydia.
Thanks, Catherine. Hi, everybody. My name is Lydia. I'm currently the Director of Investments at Arevon. We are a leading independent power producer who develops and finances, owns and operates solar storage and hybrid projects in North America. We have more than 3.5 gigawatts of operating capacity, actively constructing more than a gigawatt of new projects. And we also have a pipeline of over 6 gigawatts under development. My team is primarily responsible for all of the investment activities at Arevon, mergers and acquisitions, capital allocation, strategic partnerships. We decide where we want to allocate capital support, the growth of our development pipeline, as well as our operating fleet.
Great. Well, thank you for that. And I didn't even need to ask you to introduce yourself. So thank you. Now, I know that you double majored in econ and government in college and later received your MBA from MIT. Earlier on in your career, you focused on oil and gas private equity. How did you eventually transition into renewables?
Yeah, it's a long-winded story. The investment banking experience at Macquarie really helped me obtain some foundational technical skill set that's required to advance my career in the general investment and finance field. Post Macquarie, I joined Common Fund Capital on their net resources private equity team. We focused on traditional energy investments, and that's mostly fossil fuel, upstream exploration, production, and oil field services. I don't know if you all remember back in 2015 to 2016, there were a large wave of university students who were protesting against their endowments and asking for divest in fossil fuel. So Common Fund raised over 90% of their total asset under management from endowments and foundations. Many of our investors asked us to help them transition capital into a low carbon economy. That's when I raised my hand to help complete some upfront research and lay the foundation for this new sustainability investment program, which was then launched in 2018.
Okay.
So during that process, I became really passionate about working on investment opportunities that actually align with my personal values.
Right.
So I decided to transition my own career by obtaining an MBA and a sustainability degree from MIT. While at school, I focused a lot coursework on renewable energy, also tried to build my network into the sector. And after graduation, I took a full-time position on the investment team at Generate Capital. You may know Generate as well.
Yeah.
Generate is a San Francisco-based sustainable energy company. We worked on a lot of different transactions in the energy transition space, including renewable generation, clean transportation, and hydrogen.
Right.
And after Generate, I joined Arevon in 2021 as the company spun off from the former Capital Dynamics platform and into the independent power producer that we are today. So since then, Arevon has grown our platform to more than 240 employees. We also deployed a significant amount of capital into developing, owning, and operating renewable energy projects in the U.S.
That's great. Yeah, no, it's really exciting what you all are doing at the moment in the industry. So I want to talk a bit about senior women leaders, something I think we're both very passionate about. You've spoken before about the need for more women in clean energy, specifically in senior leadership roles. Why do you think this is important?
Yeah, it's definitely important. I think it's also not just the women. Overall, diversity and equity are important for this sector.
Yeah,
I think diverse perspectives and backgrounds allow us to think differently. And that's important for clean energy finance, given that it's still a quite nascent sector. We analyze the market more comprehensively. We better envision an energy transition that also ensures environmental and social justice with a diverse employee base. And additionally, I think having more women in our line of work, or like actually more importantly at senior levels, is quite important. Because women tend to see opportunities and evaluate risks differently. And that's valuable in a traditionally male-dominated organization or industry. A more balanced and diverse view allows our overall team and company to grow very sustainably.
Yeah. And what do you think are some of the best ways we can ensure more women are able to take senior roles? So, for example, not expecting everyone to come from the same traditional finance background, or maybe providing more mentorship opportunities.
Yeah, all of the above. And I
Yeah.
mean, there are a couple of the aspects that I want to focus on. Recruiting, of course, is important, but retention and career development are equally as important.
Yeah.
I think there are a lot of companies in the sector who are currently doing much better at intentionally targeting candidates from diverse backgrounds during recruitment. So, for
Yes.
example, as we hire more junior members onto our investments and project finance team, we now use a standard technical assessment as a screening tool instead of filtering based on prior experience. So regardless of where you have learned this technical skill set, as long as you can pass assessment on average, basis, we don't necessarily require people to have, having worked in investment banking.
Oh, that's interesting. I like that. That's great.
Yeah. And the other thing I'd like to mention is I want to advocate for more companies to focus on employee retention. We need to create a work culture that enables women and minority employees to feel a sense of belonging.
Yeah.
And also create and improve career development opportunities for them to advance into managerial or even executive roles.
Right.
We, as a company, we have an internal women affinity group, and most recently, like within our women's book club program, we picked a book for this month. It is titled "Nice Girls Don't Get the Corner Office." you
Well,
may or may
I don't
not
know,
see.
Lydia. I have a corner office, so pretty nice. But I guess there are a lot of people that would disagree with that, maybe.
I actually just moved into this new corner office this week. I don't know if that says whether I'm nice or not, but
That's hilarious.
This book, the reason why we picked it is because it's actually addressing career advancement for women and
Sure.
Overall, what are the things that a company or organization can do to help women get there?
The Inflation Reduction Act was passed on your birthday. You were so
yeah.
You were so excited about the IRA that you considered naming your cat Ira. What have you been most excited about when it comes to the IRA and its ability to help deploy clean energy at scale?
Yeah, my cat is actually not named Ira, but I was very excited and I actually considered doing that. This was the summer 2 years ago, and we have gone quite far from the passing of IRA to actually using it, executing on it. So my views are more relevant to what we're seeing today than how we felt at that time. And first, we're very excited to see, of course, the extension and expansion of tax credits for renewable energy projects. That's not just limited to solar, wind, and battery storage, but also includes a lot of new asset classes. It is important for us, especially because we experienced as an industry 2 years of supply chain uncertainty. Build costs went up. The overall cost of building projects have gone up quite significantly. And in order to offset that, we're now able to utilize that tax incentive from the IRA. And on top of that, there are some what we call structural flexibilities that the IRA allows us to do. And it helps us to mobilize more capital from a wider range of investors who traditionally have not participated in our industry. And so these provisions include a couple things. So first of all, you can now elect the production tax credit for solar instead of just the investment tax credit. You can also get awarded what we call direct pay for some new asset classes and certain projects that meet criteria, for economic development indicators. And also, last but probably the most important, there is a transferability provision within the IRA that allows us to monetize the tax credits with direct monetary value. This means that we likely can avoid using very complicated and super expensive tax equity partnership flip structures to monetize those benefits that what we have done for the past 10, 20 years. As a quick example, Arevon actually closed on the financing of Viking's project in 2023. which was the nation's first financing done for a utility-scale solar peaker project, and we used the IRA's transferability provision in order to monetize the tax credits.
So Arevon has had a few major announcements recently. Can you talk a bit about their $350 million financing package with Blackstone for the 800 megawatt Condor energy storage project, which will enhance grid reliability during peak demand times in California?
Yeah, of course. Thanks for bringing it up. First of all, I'd like to mention that Arevon has secured more than $2 billion in product financings in the last 4 months.
Okay.
This is really quite a big accomplishment by the team, and this amount of capital would enable us to bring our Vikings, Condor, and Elon 2 projects online. And specifically on Condor, it is a 200 megawatt, 800 megawatt hour energy storage project in California. We closed the financing in February of this year, and we anticipate the project to start operations in Q2 of this year. As more renewable generation is added to the grid, we will need more battery storage capacity to help shift the load and improve grid reliability. So projects like Condor will be able to achieve this goal, particularly in California, where we already see a duck curve caused by the addition of renewable energy generation. We, as a company, work with tier 1 suppliers for our projects. At Condor, we are partnering with Tesla to provide megapacks for the utility scale battery system and the ongoing O&M services. From the financing side, Blackstone's preferred equity structure is allowing us to simplify the monetization of tax credits that eliminated the need for traditional tax equity financing, which is a lot more expensive and cumbersome to complete. The back leverage debt also included commitments from a large group of top tier banks, and we raised a separate lend financing for the project as well.
Okay.
So combining all of that with the support from our partners, we're able to really pioneer some climate finance solutions that can promote a sustainable clean energy future together.
So for those who may not know, Arevon, you mentioned it in passing in the beginning of the podcast, but they spun off from Capital Dynamics. How has this impacted the business model there?
Yeah, so Arevon spun off from Capital Dynamics in 2021. We are still backed by the same investors. They are some of the world's largest institutional investors. That enables us to continue investing what we call patient capital into renewable energy projects. There's no limit to our fund term or by the time we have to execute. It is a permanent pool and long-term equity. And over the past 3 years, Arevon has seen significant growth in all aspects, from product pipeline to increasing our headcount. We have also deployed a large amount of sponsor equity since the spin-off in our pipeline projects, along with capital that we raised from financing partners. So we are now a vertically integrated IPP, independent power producer. And I'm pretty proud that we have developed in-house expertise through various different aspects that a project requires in its life cycle. That is, from development to construction, origination, asset management, and of course, our New York team who cover investment product finance activities. And we're really excited to continue to do that alongside our partners, vendors, off-takers, and most importantly, the communities that we serve.
I really like that term, patient capital. Is that what you called it? Patient capital. I've never heard that before. I really like that.
Yeah, it's a way to describe, an evergreen investment platform that allows you to not have to think about exits upon, 5 to 7 years time frame, which is traditionally what private equity funds have been targeting.
Right.
Because our projects generally have product life somewhere between 20 years for battery storage, 35 to 40 years for solar. If you have to build it and then think about selling it to somebody else 5 years down the road, you're solving for different things. You're optimizing for a potential exit, right? The terminal value. Versus if we keep everything on our balance sheet, we're building this an evergreen platform with patient capital to make sure that we actually have good projects. We, can still benefit from them 40 years down the road.
Well, thank you so much for speaking to us today. Hopefully when this airs, it will have stopped raining, both in DC and New York.
Yes,
but appreciate all the work that you're doing for us in our industry as well.
Awesome. Thanks, Catherine. Thanks, everybody.